the next video. In this video I will show you how to apply Lanczos resample effect to a live camera preview in Expo React Native for Android using Camera X and Media 3 effect. So let's get started. So what is a Lanczos resample? It is basically used for image processing. So I'll show you guys the output first. So here I have recorded the output. I'll just play it. So first it asks for camera permission, so just let me play it again. It typically give the camera permission, and here you can see I'm moving my camera. Now I'm using a very cheap Android device, that's why the performance is very bad. And what amount of Lanczos resample effect you want to apply, that also depends on you. I'll show you that in the code. Now also one more thing, the Media 3 effect library which I am using is still in alpha at the time of me recording this video. That's why also the performance is very bad. So given that I have a cheap Android device and the library is in alpha, both causes performance issues, but hopefully by the time you watch it the library becomes stable and you don't face this performance issue. But if you're using a good Android device like a OnePlus or a Pixel, you will not face this kind of issues. So again I'll just play this, and here you can see at the bottom there is a capture button. So if we click on the capture button, it captures the image and display it inside an image view. So let's get started on how to do this. So here what the next step is, to create an Expo React Native project. So you can just run this command inside your terminal and it will create an Expo React Native project for you. It will ask you for your app name, just give it some app name. Now just to quickly show you the documentation as well, there are multiple ways to create an Expo React Native project. I'm using this blank TypeScript template as you can see over here, but if you want you can use all these other templates as well. The reason I'm using this blank TypeScript template is because it creates a blank less boilerplate code with TypeScript support, that's why. Okay, once that is done, you need to go to this URL over here. So like I said, will be writing native code. I'm not using any third-party library. Also the Expo version which I'm using is 53.0.2. Unfortunately the Expo guys have still not updated to React Native 80, which has been released a month ago from the time me recording this video, but they still haven't updated it. I don't know why, but anyways for our case this is fine. I don't think there will be any breaking changes as such. So just go to this URL next. So here you will have to select Android device, select development build, and I have already done all these steps. So here you will have to select your own operating system. I have already ran this command. I have set the Java home as well. I have also set up Android Studio as well. So if you haven't done this, you will have to follow this documentation, then do this particular bit of stuff, then do this particular bit of stuff. Then you will have to cd to your application, so the Expo React Native application inside your terminal, the cd to my app or whatever is your Expo React Native project name, and then just run this command. So this will install this Expo dev client dependencies as well. So you'll have to run this command. Once you run this command, you will have to run this command over here, npx expo run android. Once you run this command, you should see this Android folder being created for you. It will also ask you like, do you want to run your application on a simulator or a real device? So you don't have to run it, you can just press Ctrl C. We'll run it at the very end once the application is done, once we finish writing code, because we will be writing native code, right? So you can't just hot reload or hot refresh. You will have to run it from the start, so no point in running it now. Okay, then we need to create this module. So for that you need to go to this particular documentation. Like I said, this is only for Android, so we are not concentrating on iOS. So I'll open it inside a new tab, and here you can see you first need to run this command. Okay, then it will ask you some questions like what should be the module name. Don't enter anything, just press enter. That's it, and it will give you this, it should create this folder for you, modules, my module, that's it. Okay, now I'll just close this. Now a few things which you need to do. So first you need to go to the src folder, go to my module.type.ts, and here you can see this is the URL. Like this is the thing which we will use for sending, this key we will be using for sending the image URL from native Android side to Expo React Native side. Okay, now here I have commented this particular thing out. Now this all thing was present by default, I have not added this by myself. I will tell you what I have changed. I have commented these two things out. Now don't get confused by this URL and this URL. This URL is for sending the data back from native Android side or from native side to Expo React Native side, and this basically is a prop. We are not using any prop, so I have commented this out. And this particular thing is same what I have written over here. I have just changed the name on image taken just so that it makes more sense in our case. That's why, that's the only thing which I have changed. Okay, and I don't think I have changed anything inside my module. Just check once. I think this should be the same for you as well. Then once that is done, you need to go to the Android folder. You need to go to build.gradle, and here you need to add this dependencies block. So here you need to add this camera core, then this camera 2, camera lifecycle, camera view, then Android X camera media 3 effect, which is still in alpha at the time of me recording this video, and this media 3 effect as well. If this library does become stable, make sure you use the stable version. Then Android X app compat 1.7.0 as well. Okay, once you add all this, you need to go to the main Android folder, go to app, src, main, android manifest.xml, and here you can see we need to add two things. First is this uses feature of Android hardware camera, as well as this camera permission. So make sure you add these two things. Now we also require this write external storage, but this was added by default when we create an Expo React Native project, so I don't need to add it. Okay, and also the internet permission is a good thing to do. Okay, once that is done, let's just see how to use it. We'll see the implementation in a bit. So just go to app.tsx, and here are all the imports which I have written. So feel free to pause the video and copy all these imports. Then here we have one state for image URL, one state just to check whether camera permission was granted or not. Then here I am just checking whether the Android version is greater than 10 or not, greater than equal to 10, because from Android 10 we don't require the write external storage permission. So that's what I'm doing over here inside this method. Depending on the Android version, we are asking for the required permission, and here you can see once the permission has been granted, we just change the state of this particular variable over here as well. Okay, and inside use effect we just call this particular method over here. Once image URL is not equal to empty, then we'll just display the image using the image React Native image element. If it is empty, like at the default it is empty, and if camera permission is granted, then we just display this camera preview as well as our capture button. Else we just say display a text saying camera permission not granted, and these are the styles for that particular thing as well. Okay, then again you need to go to module, my module, go to src java, and here you first need to go to my module.kt. Okay, first you need to add this particular import. Now why we need to add this? Because we need to annotate this my module @ unstable API. This is because this media 3 effect libraries are bit like this is an alpha, right? But this unstable API is because of this particular library. Even though this is stable, the API is bit unstable. This is one of the quirks of Android development. Hopefully by the time you guys watch this video, they hopefully resolve this issue, but at least at the time of me recording we need to add this. Okay, and rest everything I have kept it as it is. Then just scroll down, and here inside my module we have commented this out because we are not passing any prof. So to comment out things in Kotlin, you just have to add this // and here also I have commented this out, events on load, and here I have this events on image taken, because that's the type which we are using over here, right? That's why I'm using events on image taken. That's the only change which you need to make. Now let's see the actual code on how to do this. Is here we need to open this my module view.kt file. Now firstly you will see some code inside this my module view file. So you need to delete the default code which is present inside this particular file, because we will be changing this completely. Now firstly you need to add all these imports. So I'll simply scroll through this file. Feel free to pause the video and just copy all these imports which are there. Once you have copied this import, we are annotating this class with @unstable, because in this particular class itself we are using the media 3 APIs. Now given that this particular class is used inside my module.kt, we have to annotate this class as well with @unstable API. So hopefully you got the point. Like I said, if the library becomes stable, then we don't have to use this. Then here we have used this on image taken event dispatcher, which is used to send data from native Android side to Expo React Native side. Here we get hold of our current activity. Here is our frame layout as well. Then this is our camera, this is our preview view, this is our image capture. Here is our capture button as well. Then here is our camera preview view. So view, I have named it as viewfinder. Then here is our camera executor service. Here is our process camera provider. Here is our back facing lens. Then inside the init we set the layout params to our frame layout and add it to our parent view. Then here inside viewfinder we set layout params for our viewfinder as well. Then here we call install hierarchy fitter. I'll tell you more about this function in a bit. Then we add the viewfinder to our frame layout. Then we set the text background color, text color as well as alpha for our capture button. Then here we set the button params for our capture button as well. Then we add the capture button to our frame layout. Then inside the capture button we add a click listener as well. Then here we override on attach to window. So if we have the camera permission, then we just do viewfinder.post, set up our camera. Then on detach from window, we just do camera executor.shutdown and we unbind our camera provider. Then here we have all this code written. So why we are writing this code? So firstly, I have copied this code from this particular URL. You can go to this URL. So there is an issue open in React Native's repo since past 8 years. They have still not fixed it. That's why we need to use this particular hack. If you don't use this hack, you will just see a black screen instead of your live camera preview. That's why we need to use this. Then here we call setup camera, where we get hold of our camera provider future. We add a listener to it as well. Here we initialize our camera provider. Here we bind the camera use cases as well. Then here we get the rotation. Here we get hold of our camera provider. Here we get hold of our camera selector. Then here is our aspect ratio strategy. Here is our resolution selector. Here we initialize our preview view. Here we initialize our image capture. Here is our use case group dot builder, add preview use case as well as image capture, and here is our media 3 effect as well. Then here we set the Lanczos resample effect. Now like I said, you can play around with this value depending on how your live camera preview should be. So the greater the value, the more blurry it would look like. So like I said, if you want to process more images quickly, then the more this value would be. But again, I'm not really an expert on Lanczos resample. Then we add the media 3 effect or use case group builder, unbind our camera provider, we bind it to the life cycle. Then here we initialize our surface provider as well. Then inside take photo, we just use the simple date format. Here I have content values where I pass the display name, MIME type, and if Android version greater than P, we also set the relative path. Then here we initialize the image capture as well. Then here we do image capture dot take picture. Here we override on image saved. So once we have the URI of the saved image, we send it back to React Native side with the help of this particular line over here. Then we unbind our camera provider. Here we just check whether we have the necessary camera permission, and here I have defined two variables, tag and file name format, which we are using in this particular file. So yeah, that's all there is to it. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Bye.